Hey everybody, welcome to Art Club. I'm excited to have you here. This week we are going to be creating bean, pea, lentil paintings. And with them we get to choose whether we want to have the paintings be natural by just using the colors that are already a part of the beans, peas, lentils that we have, or if we want to put them together in a way and then paint over the top of them. So we're going to have lots of artistic expression and choices to make for these projects this week, and I can't wait to see how yours turn out. So I just want to have us all take a quick look at some examples. Up here in the corner, there's a dog, an owl, a lion, and a turtle, but there's so many other ones, and you'll see them as we go through the slides for the week of what kind of stuff we could do. You are not limited to animals. You could make, maybe you do like flowers in a vase. Maybe you create a landscape. Maybe you have a cool car that you create a bean painting of. It's really up to you and your imagination what it is that you want to create. So, materials that we need, we're going to need some cardboard, just a flat sheet of cardboard. It can be from a box that you've cut up. That's what I did with mine. We're going to need glue. We're going to need our beans, peas, lentils, and if you have others at home, you can use those as well. And we're going to need something to draw with, so a pencil, pen. I'm going to be using Sharpie marker because that way it's a little bit easier to be seen on the screen. And then as far as how many do we make, that's going to be up to you. So some students choose to make a bigger piece and take the whole week to make one big, amazing piece of artwork. Some students choose to make smaller ones and make more of them. It's really going to be up to you what you want to create this week. And it's also going to be up to you, if you want to be spending time outside of art club as well. But I'm going to give you the fundamentals for how to create these, and then from there you can let your creativity, your imagination, and the amount that you create, you can take that over however you want. So let's transition so you guys are able to see what I am currently making. So I've chosen to make a cactus for my first one. So to start though, we're going to need just a piece of cardboard, and you can cut this any size. I would maybe cut this, at least this part off here because it's perforated, if you can see that. So I'd probably cut that off, maybe cut it here. But we're going to take our pen, pencil, Sharpie, whatever you have handy, and we're going to draw our picture on here. Now I usually recommend whatever you want to draw a picture of. I think it's a good idea to either look at a picture of that like in a book, or maybe you pull up a picture online to look at. A lot of times when we have an image to look at, we can do a better job with our own drawing than if we just pull it from our memory. So I always suggest looking at a picture to help inspire you and kind of get the proportions and everything right. So we'll draw that picture onto our cardboard. Our next step then is to decide what color and size beans we want for each section. So I'm going to just dump those on off. There we go. You can see I've already glued on the lower section and the kind of zigzag pattern that I put on the planter portion here. But next I'm going to be working on this section. So we kind of work one section at a time with this. And what you'll do is dig through your beans, peas, and lentils to find a bunch of matching ones. And you want them to be matching color and size. It just makes this look more cohesive as we go. So then, as you're finding those, you just kind of put them on there until you can tell, yep, that looks like I have enough. So obviously you already saw we had enough for this section. So now that I know that I have enough for that spot, my next step is going to be to glue it on. So we want to use a good amount of glue because obviously these are 3D objects, right? They're thicker than just a piece of paper. So we want to make sure that we've got enough glue to kind of fill in any of those cracks and make sure that it's going to stick. Now, with using this much glue, I would give it a good at least half hour, but probably more like an hour in order for the glue to dry before picking it up and moving it. When I'm gluing these on, I usually start by the last layer and work my way up. If I start here and work my way down, I might find that I can't fit the beans in, like, you know, in between where I had been just finishing here and where my last row was. So I always start closest to wherever my last beans, like row of beans, were put down. And I'm just going to start filling this in. So this is what we're up to today. We're drawing our picture. We're planning out our beans, peas, lentils, whatever we want to put in each section. We're working one section at a time and gluing those on down before we move on to the next section. You might finish this today for the whole bean painting, depending on how long you choose to work outside of art club time. Or we can also work on this tomorrow too. But I did just want to give you a heads up that for the next class, we're going to start having the option then of also using our acrylic paints to paint over any section. So maybe you, like, let's say you wanted to do a tiger and you really wanted it to be that vibrant orange color. So you can pick, maybe you choose these same beans that I'm using here because they're the right size that you want for, you know, that part of your tiger. Well, tomorrow we'll be able to go in then and paint those beans in that section with the orange paint, or whichever, you know, whatever colors you've got and whatever you need for what it is that you're creating. So I wanted to let you guys know that heads up too. So some students, like I said, will choose to just keep it the natural colors of the beans and peas, and some students will choose to paint over it. So that's another thing to be thinking about today too. And if you know that you want to be painting yours, just to make sure that for the next art club that you've got a painting space set up, because as we know, paint can get a little bit messy. So I am going to be continuing on adding beans to this section until it's completed and until I'm ready to move on to the next section. And then I just want to give a reminder, as you are all working on yours as well, that as we complete any projects this week, please feel free to share them in our Art Hall of Fame by clicking on the link here. And then your next step is going to be to claim a frame and put on your name. As you guys know, I was a poet too. So maybe if I want to choose this one, I would go on in and type my name in, first name, last initial, would go on in, and then you could go to insert image and go to camera and just take a picture right with your Chromebook. There's other ways too. You could also insert your image from your Google Drive, photos, whatever works for you, but I found the easiest way tends to be just taking a picture right with the Chromebook there. It only takes a few seconds that way. So continue on then creating your bean painting. Reminder that you do not have to get this entirely finished today, because we will have more club time to continue working on these. The next club I will show you guys how to paint it, and you could choose to paint, maybe you just choose to paint one section and not another. So it's going to be up to you. And like I said, there's lots of room for creative and artistic choices for this project. Another thing I wanted to mention too, as you're creating yours today, is you also would have the choice of cutting this out if you want it to just be that shape. Sort of like we're seeing, oops, down here on our slides with the turtle, owl, the lion, and the puppy. Those were actually cut out to the shape of the animal. So that's another option that you can make as well as you're creating your bean paintings. All right, you guys, continue working on these. I cannot wait to see how they're turning out next time.